So it's me, and I'm back, this time dressed in my full professional regalia because I am the meme doctor. So, fuck. I wanted to make some terrible decisions today, and I wanted to discuss the popular. Sorry about that. I wanted to make some terrible decisions today and go into detail on the evolution of memes and how memes are taking us into a new era of mankind, the apocalypse. So I'm going to screen share because, me being the hyper organized person I am, I created a fucking slideshow. Okay, the meme doctor. So I've decided to call myself the meme doctor because at some point at the end of this, I genuinely want a PhD in memes. So if you can hook that up for me and you can get me into a university where I can study memes, do it. So how do we talk about memes? How do we analyze memes? I think the most useful thing I've found so far has been this notion of simulacra. So a simulacra is anything which recreates real life. A painting is a simulacra. A stone carving is a simulacra. Anything which recreates something and attempts to represent reality. Now, Jean Baudrillard took this to four orders. There were, prior to this, other people who talked about the different levels of representation of reality. But to keep things quick, I'm just going to talk about this one, Jean Baudrillard. So the first order is the faithful image or copy, where we believe, and it may even be correct, that a sign is a reflection of a profound reality. So if you imagine those classical paintings of landscapes or portraiture, images that are trying to literally show you reality. Now, of course, they're not reality because they're always made via the lens of somebody, but they present something as if they are reality, and we read them as if they are reality. The second order, the second stage, is a perversion of reality. This is where the image starts to tell us what reality isn't. Best way or the way I currently think about that is the idea of conspiracy theories. So if you believe that the American government is run by a ring of pedophiles who are harvesting adrenochrome by cutting the faces off of children, might be true. Then whenever you see an image of Hillary Clinton smiling, the fake smile of a politician, whenever you see that fake smile, that is a signal to you of the true corruption. Because in real life, people don't smile all the time. So their presented image is actually a signal of the reality which is hidden. And it's a way of perverting reality. We'll go into this and I'll clarify that. The third stage masks the absence of a profound reality, where the sign pretends to be a faithful copy but is a copy with no original. Signs and images claim to represent something real, but no representation is taking place, and arbitrary images are merely suggested as things which they have no relationship to. So, this is the tricky one, and this is where we are at now, I think, in society, where people, politicians, sort of, get Brexit done. It doesn't mean anything. Everyone knows it doesn't mean anything. It's pretending to be it's an attempt to capture British pragmatism, but really we all know that it is just an empty statement, and we are just passing it between us to show whether we're for something or against it. It has lost its attempt to connect to reality. Here's another example of that. Oh no. Oh god. There we go. The best things in life are free. 1699. It's a complete oxymoron. And in this modern society, it's totally fine. It's totally fine to have a complete oxymoron. We accept it. We understand that's the way things are. We've moved past trying to, well, not trying, but we've moved past the idea that what we are expressing and what we're speaking is meant to be real. We're past that. That went in somewhere in the 90s. The Matrix was talking about this. The author, Jean Baudrillard, he didn't like the Matrix, even though it was based on his work. If you look at the book that Neo has the drugs in when he's selling drugs in the beginning, it is this book, Simulacra and Simulation. And so here's a quick rundown. First level, reality. Second level, the perversion of reality, the masking or denaturing, when we start to see that the simulation or the representations are showing us something that isn't true, and therefore we infer the truth by what is not shown. The abstraction of reality, but there's still a tenuous link to reality, and that's level 3. And 4, there is no more link to reality, it's full abstraction. So what is real anyway? So we have to discuss this, because I'm going to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse, the Kenosha shooting, not because I have any kind of claim to understand what the fuck is going on in America. I mean, who does? Although I will say, if you haven't seen the footage and you haven't seen what's going on, there is a really good video by a guy called Colin Noir, who is a black guy who's a lawyer and a guns activist in America, and he made a video going through it from a sort of legal, lawyery point of view. And he has plenty of clips that give a lot of context as to what happened in real life. But of course, if you watch that video, it's still not a reflection of real life, because he is pro guns, pro what I mean, I don't know what he's pro, but you whatever he is pro of is going to tinge and affect the way he presents it. And in this modern narrative, you have these two in the the Kenosha stuff. Leaving aside, I mean, there's so much crap here, and I really feel I'm about to kick a wasp's nest. I don't want to get into reality, because I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But what I have seen is, in my Facebook feeds, I have seen the two streams of memes trying to contextualize reality, and I've seen how these memes have gone from level 1 to level 4, and how that is leading us to become triggered. So, what is real? Anybody who claims to be making a statement about an objective reality better be a scientist and better have peer review, because the only way to really make a statement about what is actually happening is to do peer reviewed research. So the simulation, what is the simulation? So the simulation is this idea that we are now the what is real to us that is not a simulacra, that is not a representation of reality, is phenomenological experience. So it's the sound of the wind, the the mist of the rain on my face. It's the seagull shit as I get shat on by a bird. It's the fucking depression after eating a McDonald's. It's the anxiety as I walk to work. It's the looking in a lover's eyes. It's all this shit. That's real. That is real. But the meaning of the things that are real is changed by the simulacra. So the OK symbol, right? This used to just be, something divers did. Now it's a white power symbol. And even though what is real in reality is just the positioning of my fingers, the meaning of that is constructed by these simulacra. They change what the real means. And so so we almost have like a parallel, this is, controversial statement. Even we have a parallel existence. One is the phenomenological existence, which is just what is happening as it is. And second is the minute you start to put any kind of interpretation on top of that, that second level is a simulation. It's a simulation of reality that happens on top of reality. And when I'm talking about a simulation, of course, I don't just mean social media, but more and more and more and more so. We live in an era where the simulation of our lives, the representation of our lives, the representation of meaning via social media feeds is more significant to us than the just experience of the wind on our cheeks and the sound of the knives as we cut food, and the kind of pre-civilization type of humanity. We now live in this area where we basically live in a simulation. Everything that happens to us is understood through these meanings that have come through the social media sphere, creating, in essence, a simulated reality that exists on top of a phenomenological reality. Okay, do you want to see some memes? Oh dear. Okay, screen sharing is paused. Oh, I'm now screen sharing again. Okay, let's try to do this with a level of production value that people will be impressed by. Yeah, actually, pause share, new share. Oh God, Jesus. If I was, remotely Okay. Oh, new share. Is it going to work? Can you see that? Are you going to see my whole desktop? Are you going to see my whole desktop? Are you? Anyway, fuck it. I don't think I've got anything that's really a problem here. Plus 2020. Who cares? So here's a quote from Baudrillard talking about, I mean, in this book, which is the symbolic exchange in death, he starts to present a logic for how these symbolic meanings, which are attributed to commodities, gain a logic of interaction. You know, so I'm going to start just above the highlight part. Each configuration of value is seized by the next in a higher order of simulacra, and each phase of value integrates the prior apparatus into its own as a phantom reference, a puppet reference, a simulated reference. So each time, you know, you might have a painting of a countryside, and then the next level is that actually, you know, that painting of the countryside means the countryside has been destroyed. So even this green image becomes a symbol for the inversion of that. But it's using, see, that story saying that even if you're saying that the countryside has been destroyed, that statement implies that the original countryside, the real countryside, was this green meadow, which is a kind of truth. It's a sort of historic truth, but it's not necessarily true because there's already a bias in that statement. So a revolution separates each order from its successor. These are the only genuine revolutions. We are in the third order, which is the order no longer of the real, but of the hyperreal. It is only here that theories and practices, themselves floating and indeterminate, can reach the real and beat it to death. So with that, let's get to work. So Kyle Rittenhouse memes. So shall we start with the anti what happened memes, or shall we start with the pro memes? It's who do I want to piss off first? God, there's no way I can win this. I swear to God, because I just find myself being removed from it, and I totally understand that if you put your identity into this, if you perceive that the things that are happening in kenosha are equivalent to as happening to you, then of course this is a very immediate subject that needs to be dealt with right now. I'm not doing that for one reason or another, right? Like maybe it's because of the color of my skin, maybe it's because of my political allegiances. I don't care about the First Amendment laws. I don't live in a country where we have guns, and I don't see people who look like me shot to death by the police on the media every day. So my interpretation, my reaction to these things is gonna be a bit different, and we still got to talk about it. So anyway, let's fucking start. So let's start with pro. So just keep sharing, resume share. I hope you. I don't know what you guys can see. Let me just actually try and. Yeah, fuck it. That'll do. Okay, so this is these are some of the pro Kyle Rittenhouse memes, and so we can see here what we're trying. So obviously you have all the videos, and if you want to watch the videos, go watch the Colin Noir thing, because he goes through it all, he shows it all and analyzes it, and he does. I'm not going to do that because I'm not trying to talk about the event that happened in reality. I want to talk about how this was changed in my social media streams. So you can see level 1. This is an attempt to represent him in reality. Now we're starting to contextualize other people's interpretations. So you see here, it's like this is the dude and this is what this means. Already we're kind of moving into level 2 because it's taking 2 separate images. It's very clear who these are all coming from Facebook. Level 2, traveling multiple states to loot, traveling 20 minutes to protect your neighbor's property. So you see, we're starting to say this is starting to contextualize other people's statements about this as being hypocritical, which is starting to invert what their statements are. So somebody might criticize him as a statement about reality. This meme here is an attack meme to pervert the other side's statements. So this movement here is to make it to sort of inoculate the people who follow this page's view is to inoculate them from ever having empathy with the other side. So next one, again, here we go, another kind of level 2 critique. It's still saying that something happened in reality, but it's starting to sort of pervert that. It's starting to say, well, the real reason we're talking about this is because of the statement about something else. The conversation here isn't about reality. What we're talking about shows us what we really mean, because what we really mean is what we're not talking about. Here we start to move up to level 3. And so we have, I can't remember this guy's on the left's name, but I tried to find a picture of it, but it was the Ken and Karen. So we're starting to see here, though, these real life events are now becoming abstracted symbols, which are being used to consolidate a political movement into the symbolic meanings. The people who view this page know what these mean, they know what this structure means, and it's a way of tying together a disparate series of symbols and real life events, which can then be used to validate basically any political opinion. Because this is level 3, it's abstracted from reality. There is a sort of, it's pretending to talk about what's going on in America as if it's some kind of cohesive, coherent narrative. But in reality, these events are not that. There is a current behind them that links them, but also it's very tenuous as to what this image says about that. But whatever you believe, it kind of, if you're pro this and you agree with generally, if you're generally on the side of First Amendment stuff or whatever, it generally ties together the symbols and creates this cohesive identity. And this is sort of, I found this one, I don't think it's a great example, but it's kind of an example of a level 4. So it really is now an attempt to satirize the view of the opposing side. And it's just kind of pulling random symbols, random random parts of what they don't like about the opposing side, and tying this all together in just a sort of sense of nonsense. But this is being used as a kind of cultural capital to be traded amongst people. So there's a quick run through of that side. I'm going to quickly do the other side. So this is the people who were anti Kyle. So again, here we start to see comments on other parts of his character. So again, this is level 1. We're alluding to the truth. We're saying this is the real Kyle Rittenhouse. This is the person. This is the real him. We're alluding to reality. Again, here starting to. This is, I cut my friend's status off. If you see this, haha, got ya. But we're starting to now move to level 2 because we're starting to question the narrative. We're questioning what this initial news article says about reality. Same again, man, of bringing this out of reality and bringing it into this inversion of saying, look, what we see in reality is not the real story. The real story is a second. And then again, this is good when viewed in opposition to the other inversion, the other side's level 2. It's a sort of attempt, a countermeasure against the attempts to inoculate their side. I'm just chatting nonsense now. Here was a good one I liked because it shows how we're taking these shooters who are all white men and starting to abstract them into a level 3 reference of the archetypical meme, in the same way that the Karen became this creature with its own independent existence. We see the birth of this here. The white guy wearing Crocs with the square rimmed glasses, it becomes a meme. It becomes a reference for a whole contextualization of reality. And then that will become more important than reality, because this meme, just like the Karen meme, will become a tool for influencing the flow of discussion. This one, again, we're now moving into sort of 2 to 3, where we're seeing the linking of the symbols. So now there is obviously a tenuous link to what happened in reality, but the context of both of these events has been removed to show this larger context. But we don't need reality for that larger context anymore. This larger context has moved past reality. And then this one again, sort of 3 to 4, we're now just exchanging abstract symbols that there's still there's still a context where this points to an event in reality, but we're now showing our allegiances by what we like versus what we don't like. So yeah, that was a really fucking quick rambling rush down of some memes. I will just leave that as what it is, because why not, right? I'm doing this just for fun, really. What to say? How to finish this? Reality is not real. There is this phenomenological existence, of course, the sounds, the emotions, the chemicals. That's real. But anything you can say about it is always one sliver of the truth. And we have to realize that, because we are moving rapidly into a world where the very malleability of reality will be constantly pushed into our faces. And if we try to hold on to some sense of objective truth, we're going to have some very, very, very bloody struggles. And there you go. Boom. Done. Calling that.